calendar that I've got set up, so I'm going to go with that. So today, I shared this yesterday in my favorite stamp Monday. This is the Operation Stamp D 1977 Every Bit of Wonderful. I created a card with random stamping for pattern paper. I used some of the Bloom with Grace pattern paper, and then I also used a little stamp from one of the Bloom with Grace stamp sets to do the hello on the inside. And I wanted to share with you how to get just that little bit of color in the center of the flower with just using ink and a dauber. So let me go over the supplies that I am going to use. And I have been playing with this stamp set a lot. You know, in the group we're doing our first card swap. So I have been playing with different colors to figure out which ones would look good for fall cards. So who knows, some of these may be used in the card swap cards. So let me put those over there. So I'm going to show you how I made this pattern paper first. So I'm going to have a piece of white daisy cardstock, and I have cut it 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And I'm going to put it here. You can see this is I've got my Versamat turned over to the stamping platform. I have a piece of, this is one of our desk pads, and I have it flipped over so that I can stamp without getting it on the Versamat. I am going to use this stamp here. So I have my blocks ready. So I'm going to put this one here. That's going to be the major flower one. Then I'm going to also be working with the fern. This is a block we no longer carry, but it's one of my favorites. So I kept it. I keep things that work well for me. And so I've got my fern. That's when we do fern in the leaves. And then I have the 1 by 1, and I'm going to put the little bitty flowers on that. The sentiment I used was grateful to call you friend. I like that one. There are 3 others, inside and out. You're beautiful. You make my heart happy. That's one of my favorite statements. You are every bit of wonderful. So you can use any of those. So the first thing I'm going to do is get out my black ink. And because I'm going to be doing some coloring, I am using my Intense black, which dries faster. If you're going to let it sit overnight, you can use regular black, because this is going to be a quick you're not going to be putting a lot of water on it, or it's not like watercolors or the alcohol markers. You're just going to use a little ink with dauber. But since I'm going to be doing it while you're watching, I wanted to make sure this dries faster. So I started up in the upper corner, and I'm going to try to do a little bit of a triangle. That's kind of the way the random goes. And and you just kind of want to continue that triangular look. You want to stamp off so it looks like it's pattern paper that you've cut off of other sheets. So just a little bit off here and there. And that's pretty much all I'm going to do with the larger of the images. I kind of like to go in order of large, medium, and small so that you can fill up the whole space. Alright, I'm going to clean the stamps as I go. Alright, and then the next one is going to be done in the fern. And I'm going to be careful not to get my fingernails in the ink, so I don't put marks on my paper. And I'm just going to kind of go in between, and I'm going to turn the stamp in different ways, so that it's not all going in the same direction. So you want to just kind of turn it and fill in some of the spots. And this is what I consider the medium size. Excuse me. I think one more right here. All right, that looks good. And again, it's just what looks good to you. It's your pattern paper that you're making. So I clean that one. And then the last one I'm going to use is in Canary, and that is the same color we're going to use to color the centers. So I'm using, there's just 3 little flowers on this, in this little cluster stamp. So I'm just going to kind of fill in with these little flowers. Just adds a little more depth to the pattern. And again, I'm going to turn them in different directions. There we go, that looks good. So you kind of just fill it in. You can fill it in as much as you want or as little as you want. That's up to you. All right, so those are the 3 that I used in the making the random. And you can see I have made several of them. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the centers. And I'm just going to pick up a little ink. Now when I do daubing, I like to do it in the corner because I have a tendency to pick up the ink from the center, and the corners usually stay, usually have more ink in them. So I'm just going to dab it in the corner and then just circular motion in the center. Just like that. And it just adds enough color to put a little bit of more depth into the flower. That one doesn't have any. So I'm actually making several. So I'm just going to go ahead and do one more time. And again, just in the center. And just go around in a circle. And you can go out as far as you want, or just keep it in the center. I went just for the centers. And on the ones that's off, if it's got a little bit of it showing from the center, I'll just kind of dab it off. And then this is the last one. And this one I didn't stamp as well as I would have liked, but because I'm adding the color in the center, it doesn't look too bad. Okay, so I don't have any others. So you can rinse this under lukewarm water, and that will take the ink off. It will stain, just know that. But you can use them over and over again. So then the way I made the card was I took this piece and I attached it to this piece of pattern paper from the Bloom with Grace, and I just liked the fern color that went with the leaves, and I think canary and fern look really good together. Kind of reminds you of a sunflower. Okay, since I'm making 3 of them, I'm going to go ahead and put them all together because I've gotten where I do like to make 3 of each card. Okay, so once that part of the card is done, I'm going to set that to the side. And we're going to work on the sentiment. And I used Grateful to Call You Friend. And this piece is going to be, this is an odd shape one. It is 1 1/8 by 3 1/4. So then I used 1 1/4 by 3 3/8 for the canary that it will sit on top of. I don't normally do 8s, but excuse me, but I was using up some scraps and it worked out. So I'm going to get out the stamp sentiment. And again, I'm using Grateful to Call You Friend. Now there is a line on our blocks so that you can line it up to try to get it straight. That'll make it easier when I go to stamp it. And again, I'm going to use the black. And I'm using the Intense Black again. You could just use the regular dye base, water base if you want. Make sure I get it good and inked. All right, then I'm just going to lean over a little bit, and I'm putting it a little bit closer to the right than the left because I am going to flag the ends. I think I might have got a little crooked. Yeah, let's try that one again. A little crooked. I am sitting down. I don't usually stamp sitting down, so it's taking me a little time to to get that. There we go. So then that one is done. So now I have 3 sentiments. Now the intense black, because it dries quick, it is going to be a little bit more vibrant than the dye base that soaks into the paper and takes a few minutes, not long, to dry. Put that one away. All right, so I'm done with the sentiment. So then the next one I want to do is for the inside. And I did not bring the stamp that I stamped the hello with, so I will do that later. But I did use the larger flower, and I'm going to be using a larger block. So I'll put that on there. And I'm just going to stamp it in the upper corner where the leaves will come down. It will be kind of off the edge. And then again, I'm going to get the dauber and the canary ink out. Hi Jill. Hi Jennifer. I've got the new Facebook going on my computer and it's not letting me see people. That's weird. So again, I'm just going to do the center of the large flower. Just to add color. Now you could have added some fern or some other daubing colors on there if you wanted, but I just pretty much wanted to go with the simplicity of what I used here on these flowers. Now for those, I'm going to actually put them on a mat of canary. So this is 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 and the mat is 3 by 3. I will put the measurements in the comment section. And like I said, I like to make them 3 at a time now, so 3 people out there are going to get these cards. I have been trying to get caught up with making some cards, so I'll have them in place. I think that's everything with the ink. I believe we're done with our stamping and daubing, so now it's going to just be a matter of putting things together. So I'm going to get out our value pack cards and envelopes, and yes, you can stamp on the envelope as well as the card. So I'm going to go ahead and get out one base, and again, you're going to fold it towards, I'm going to move this out of the way so I don't get any ink on anything. And I'm actually going to, I'm not going to be stamping, so let me flip my Versamat over so that I protect the stamping mat, because I have been known to mess it up. Now if you have a bone folder or something just to kind of crease the edge of that so it will lay down. Now we've pretty much finished up these, so I'm going to go ahead and put on one of the covers. There we are. And it's going to just, and this piece is 5 1/4 by 4 inches, and it's going on a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card base, and it's going to be a top folding card. So we had the 5 1/4, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card base, the 5 1/4 by 4 inch mat, and the 3 3/4 by 5 inch stamped piece. And then we're going to bring over the sentiment that's going to go on the front, and I'm going to flag it, and I will tell you my arthritis is not fun today. Again, I don't know if it's the weather or what, but my right hand is not working real well. All right, so now I'm going to flag this one. I'm going to go ahead and put it on there so it doesn't move around. And then flag this one to match that one somewhat. As remember, I'm just eyeballing it, so it may be off just a touch, but not too much. So I cut to the center, then I'm going to cut to each side. That's pretty close. And then this piece will go right here. Now, if you want to use your foam tape, 3D tape, put a piece there, And I do like my foam tape. Some people will tell you that. Peel this off. Make sure I have it going the right direction. And I put it all the way to the edge, and I made sure that both parts of the sentiment are flush against the left side. Get the trash out of the way. All right, so the outside of the card is done. So then I have cut a piece that's 5 1/4 by 2 inches, and I'm going to flag it. And this is going to go on the inside. And again, I'm going to put it on the same. I think I'm going to put it on the other side. On the first one, I put it on both of them on the same. But I think I'm going to put this one on this side. And then I'm just going to take our little sentiment piece that we have already put on the mat. And I'm just going to place it kind of in the center. So now the inside looks as pretty as the outside. So there you have it. A card you created the pattern paper for. You used the dauber to add a little color, and that is my Tip Tuesday technique, using a dauber to add a little color to the center of your flowers. So have a wonderful Tuesday. I'm going to finish up the rest of these cards, and then I will find some people to mail them to. Enjoy your day, ladies. I will see you again soon. Bye.